Are you worried about Russ
No,
and this Lakers team, this chemistry?
no. Russell Westbrook last night with him on the floor, they were minus 23 in 35 minutes. With him off the floor, they were plus 16 in those 14 minutes. So, look, I know those stats will be very revealing for people in that first game, watching Stephen Curry not play well and they still win. But this is going to take time. I'm not going to be one of these people that goes on national TV and has a knee-jerk reaction and says, oh, now they're going to have issues. The question that's going to loom around Russell Westbrook, LeBron James said it, he has to be Russ. But he can't be the Russ he was before. He has to be the Russ that is willing to take on a different role with this team and play, understanding that when AD is a top 5 player, AD will be that player. LeBron James will be that player. So for Russ, how do you do more back cuts? How do you play with more energy? Pick your positions, pick your times, your spots a little bit more. Russ can still be very effective on this team. His role is just going to have to slightly change than what it's been his entire time in the league.
Well,
are you going to have one of those knee-jerk reactions, Stephen A?
Relax. Here I come. Jay Williams knows his basketball. I'm not about to question that, but we know I know mine. And I'm going to tell you something right now. There's a reason to be concerned, even after one game, because it's not about the numbers. Forget the numbers for a second here. Yes, you were minus 23 with him on the floor. There's no doubt about that. We get all of that. That could be an aberration. Rush could have a great game, and still that might be the case in some instances because of the way he plays. I'm talking style of play. I'm talking about what you got to look at. I've been saying for years, even though he's a walking triple-double, what's the problem with Russ? It's not his character. It's not selfishness. It's not some of these things that people try to tear him down about. No, that's not the issue with Russell Westbrook. The issue with Russell Westbrook is that he can't shoot. That's the issue. And last time I checked, that hasn't changed. One year after another, he's not a shooter. He can make jump shots here and there, but is he a reliable perimeter shooter? The answer is no. And where is that going to get the Los Angeles Lakers? Jay Williams, you know basketball. That's what this comes down to. We're talking basketball here. If you got Russell Westbrook and he can't shoot the basketball from the perimeter, you can't put him at the 2. If you keep him at the 1, you can't bring Rondo in the game. If you're not going to have Rondo in the game, you're not going to have elite point guard play in the game, which ultimately means that LeBron James at some point in time is going to have to go back to what we've always known him to be, essentially the point guard / point forward, the cerebral mind of your offense, and you're going to have to do that in order for this team to be successful. Remember, when Russell Westbrook was on the court with Rondo, they were on the court together for about 7 minutes, and they were like a minus 15 in 7 minutes. Why? Because you have no perimeter threat. And you got to take into consideration who you're going up against. You're going up against a Golden State Warriors team last night. Let's put this stuff in perspective, please. This not only was not a Klay Thompson, because we all know what that brother, that future Hall of Famer brings to the table, one of the top 5 shooters in the history of the game. James Wiseman is no scrub. He wasn't in the lineup. He was out yesterday. You had Looney back up in there. Kuminga, he was not in the lineup as well. You went and Steph Curry had a bad game. By the way, despite all of that, you still lose this game to the Golden State Warriors. They still beat you. Steph had a bad game. He called his own game trash. Even though I don't call a triple-double trash. But he called his own game trash. And then you take into consideration the fact that you got Anthony Davis with undersized dudes on him shooting fall-away jump shots. That's not going to cut it.
Are you a DEFCON 5? DEFCON 10?
No.
Where are you? Where are you in the worries about the Lakers?
No. What I'm saying to you is this. You have to play differently in order for this team to be successful. Now that brings us to Frank Vogel. Is he the man that can make those adjustments?
Well, that's going to be the question.
Well, see, there we go.
That's the question.
But that's where I was going to Jay, because I know Jay knows his basketball. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying it's the domino effect. One issue creates another with the Los Angeles Lakers. That last night was what I consider to be the Western Conference Finals matchup. And I'm here to tell you something right now. I got the Lakers as my favorite coming out of the West. They can't beat the Warriors playing like that. They're going to have to play differently. And we're going to have to see them play differently in order to do it.
11 new players on this team. Chemistry takes some minutes to actually come together. You talk about Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel is a defensive-minded coach.
That's right.
Which this team is actually going to have to get better defensively.
That's right.
We saw Carmelo Anthony get isolated multiple times last night down the stretch. That's going to be a question for them. Offensively, though, I'm trusting LeBron James to figure it out. When LeBron James got to Miami, they were 9-8 that first year. People were ready to fire Eric Spoelstra. They figured it out. They got to NBA championship. When he came to Cleveland, Okay, they were 500 around January.
Right.
They figured it out.
Right.
They got to NBA championship. Look, Russ is gonna have to play with the ball in his hands a lot of times. LeBron may have to shoot more threes this year and demand the ball.
That ain't gonna work. if
Or
LeBron
demand the
shoot more
ball
threes.
differently throughout the system
Okay.
in order to allow him. And look, Tim Legler said this, and I'm actually starting to trend in this direction a little bit. Russ may have to come off the bench some games too. Because
Okay.
Russ in his second unit
I'm glad you thought
could
that.
energize the second unit
I'm
in a
glad you
different
went
way.
there.
He just has to accept that, Stephen
I'm
A.
glad you went there. Let me say this.
Yeah.
I'm not jumping off the Laker bandwagon after one game. We analyze it. Remember, I'm a soap opera guy. You understand what I'm saying? You
my
know that the
goodness.
stars, you know what? Listen, Sonny Corinthos on General Hospital.
What aren't
Victor
you?
Newman
You're every
on
guy.
Victor Newman on
General
Young and the
Hospital.
Restless. It doesn't matter whether they get shot, stabbed,
He's
fall down the
certainly
stairs,
dramatic.
or
So
whatever.
So much drama.
I'm helping y'all out here. The point is this. It doesn't matter what happens to them. They're going to live, okay? Those
Yes.
stars are going to live. So we understand that. But it doesn't mean that you don't tell a story. And while the story is percolating, you got to tell it. And when you're paying attention to the Los Angeles Lakers right now, be very, very clear about what you just said. Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. Do you understand that this might be the greatest challenge of LeBron James' career?
Yes.
Because we understand. See, Kyrie could shoot.
Yeah.
What you're doing with Russell Westbrook, Kyrie could come off the ball. He might not have wanted to. He might have wanted the ball in his hands. He might have resented the fact that LeBron James had the ball in his hands and was running the offense and stuff like that. But you didn't ask Kyrie to do something he was incapable of doing. In the case of Russell Westbrook, what's going to happen now is, okay, you're not a shooter. You need the ball in your hands. So when you don't have the ball in the hands, what purpose are you serving? And if that question isn't answered in a positive fashion, then you're talking about him coming off the bench. Now, thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.